Oh. Oh. Welcome to Meaningful Mornings, the company that looks after our grass and bushes. The other day they were here and one of the workers knocked on the door and said, "Come outside." And he showed me the bush that's at the front of our house. And he had cut it in the shape of a heart. He told me, "Your wife will like this." And I smiled and nodded. And then he follows up with his upadesha, because a happy wife is a happy life. And I smiled and nodded. And I hear that quite a bit. I don't know if they're trying to tell me something. What we do in our workshop, though, is we focus on a happy life. Because if you're happy, all of your relationships become happier. Yes, I'll give him that upadesha. I'll send him the link to Meaningful Mornings. The sense of sadness or shoka is characteristic of the guna tamas. In the previous shloka, verse 45, Shri Krishna uses the word yoga, and yoga means to procure. One whose whole life is filled with procuring, they're doing this because they're sad. Tamas. The sense of being afraid or bhaya, this is characteristic of the guna rajas. And the word that Sri Krishna uses is kshema, which means to protect. One whose whole life is invested in protecting what they have, they're naturally going to be afraid because you can't protect everything. Rajas. And so Shri Krishna's message is nurture the vision of sattva. Not about procuring or protecting, but rather purifying. Have the vision of sattva like we do in the mornings. Then incorporate this into your lifestyle. A vision that is not integrated into one's lifestyle is not a vision then. A philosophy that is not practiced is not a philosophy. And the more this vision and lifestyle come together, the more visionary one will become, as in knowledge will become more real. We will feel this more. Sattva is not the sense of shoka or moha. Sattva is the sense of clarity. Like pure water, you can see through it more. If there's clarity, there will be conviction. If there's conviction, there will be confidence. This is a test of how much of a vision and lifestyle of sattva you have, is how confident you are. Not in select fields, but rather your entire vision and lifestyle. One of the most powerful words in Vedanta is viveka. And there's lots of interpretations of this. One day I'll tell you a funny story relating to this, but I'm already running out of time. We just started and I'm running out of time. One of the interpretations of viveka is discrimination. Now, automatically in our minds, we think of discriminating amongst people. But Viveka in the context of Vedanta is discriminating between the means and the ends. This verb of to discriminate is powerful because imagine getting confused by the means and the ends, feeling that the means is the ends. How incomplete one would be then. And layering this with more context, our Veda, in a most simple division, has a Karma Kanda, which is the means, and the Jnana Kanda as the ends. Are you clear about that? The terminology Sri Krishna is using, Karma Yoga is the means, Jnana Yoga is the ends. Do you have this clarity? I'm trying to focus on the practice of all of this. Karma Yoga begins with the right actions. The word I keep using is meaningful. If you're engaged in that which is meaningful, it will be right. The chain reaction then kicks into cheerful. This is the right attitude. If you're engaged in the right actions, you will have a propensity to have the right attitude. Meaningful, cheerful. Everyone's with me? Smile and nod. And the more cheerful you become, this will lead to being peaceful. Karma Yoga, right actions, right attitude. This will lead one to Jnana Yoga, which is the right feeling. To feel that you're vast and not limited. One is peace-filled. To hammer this idea in about Jnana Yoga being the ends, verse 46 comes in, and this is a lovely verse. Let's read it. I'll read the English and then I'll add some context. Yavan artha udapane sarvata samplutodake tavan sarveshu vedeshu brahmanasya vijanataha. Yavan artha udapane. A comparison is being used. Yavan, tavan. Udapane means a vessel of water or a reservoir. Sarvataha sampludodake. How useful is a vessel of water when there's water everywhere? Anyone want to assign value to that? That vessel's not needed. There's water everywhere. Similarly, tavan sarveshu vedeshu. The same utility is for the Veda, Brahmanasya Vijanataha, for one who knows Brahma. One who knows their vastness, then they don't need the Veda. Everyone caught this in a simple way. If there's water everywhere, you don't need a vessel of water. If you're peaceful, you don't need a map to peace, yes? What this indicates is the logic and strength of Sanatana Dharma, that even the Veda is a means to the ends being to be peaceful. And subtly, even Jnana Yoga is not the ends. To go past all sorts of yoga is the ends. I'll share this in a visualization. For those who have completed Viveka Chudamani, the last section of this grand text Chudamani means the jewel, viveka, of knowing what's the means and the ends. The fulfillment of this is where the shishya, that is the disciple, becomes realized, knows his vastness, offers namaskara to his guru, and they both go their own ways. The implication being that a Sadguru is also a means, but not the ends. Of course, we have respect for the Veda, we have respect for our Sadguru, but the ends is where one is peace-filled. How can we become this? Brahmanasya vijanataha. How can we know our vastness? Shri Krishna has already shared, nitya sattva staha. Nurture sattva into your vision, into your lifestyle, and keep on nurturing this sattva until you can't nurture this anymore. Which is why, in more advanced terminology, I'm not going to say text, the evolution of sattva is shuddha sattva, which means a purer quietude. The evolution of that is vishuddha sattva, a more pure quietude. And this leads one to be gunatita, which means you go beyond sattva. And I had mentioned that this also is a rope or a limit. Only when our sattva is most pure will this verse become relevant. Don't go around quoting this verse already. I don't need the Veda. Bhagavad Gita has taught that. Remember the last quarter, Brahmanasya vijanataha. If you know your vastness, you're right. You don't need the Veda. You do not need the Guru Shishya Parampara. You are infinite. From inspiration to application. Your recent application was to research Juneteenth, which is now a federal holiday in America, and to research Pride Month. Why I wanted you to do this. This research will help to nurture the vision of sattva. One who is sattvic is noble. And a characteristic of nobility is inclusivity. If you're living in an exclusive way, that is rajasic and tamasic. And the more we research on inequality, the more we come to appreciate the systems that are discouraging sattva. And we have to counter them. The fulfillment of inclusivity is infinity. When you can't include anymore, it's because there's vastness. Your application for this morning. I hope you're understanding and appreciating how we are in a constant review. I keep reviewing previous frameworks, previous verses, and your notes should be organized in such a way where as this constant review is going, you're adding to your notes. And being very specific, I'm going to show you my notes today. This was a book that I bought in Mumbai, Navneet. And here is how I organize my notes. If you can see the red over here, it says October 14th, verses 46 to 50. So we started with verse 46, and I wrote my notes in this range. You can see there's pen, you can see there's pencil underneath. Because I've organized my notes in a range, every time I study Bhagavad Gita, I can add to this. And I'm encouraging you to organize your notes in this way, and maybe even do it verse by verse. Like create half a page for verse 47, half a page for verse 48. if I had known better and nobody taught us how to take notes, I would have given myself more space. So what I'm trying to share with all of you is be ready for the constant review that will happen in meaningful mornings. Shanti, shanti, shanti. Be safe, be sound, be serene, be happiness.